Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Eel Podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott and Mike. So, we're going to get right into the nitty gritty. Right now, there seems to be only one thing we're talking about today, which is a shock for me, but then I realized that there's still a lot to talk about in that one thing. So, today's episode is just going to be about X-Men 97. Mike might have something else to talk about at some point besides his character spotlight, but we'll see how things go.
Well, we can just go straight into it right now. I just have a little bit of an update because obviously there's an Amazon TV show coming out for the Batman. An animated Batman.
I have something else to say too. Sorry, continue.
Well, there you go. But it's just something small. It's like a small kind of update about how it's going to be presented. The Batman Cape Crusader is supposed to take place kind of in the 1940s, and it's supposed to be a noir style film. So Batman's going to have very limited technology in this series. He's going to be more
detective.
School. Yeah, more detective and just in general, like old school. Not like he's not going to have the massive bat computer that has all the information. So that'll be interesting.
Here's my question, though. Is it a movie or a show? I do apologize.
It's supposed to be a show.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Because I know they've already made some changes. Because, like, Harley Quinn is going to be portrayed by an Asian American.
Come again?
Harley Quinn in that show is supposed to be Asian American.
Oh, okay. In the show, I thought you was like, excuse me. Where did that come from?
Not in the live action. I'm talking about that show. Like they're making her in the show Asian American. So I'm assuming an Asian American is going to be playing Harley Quinn. But I'm just stating in general that's what's happening.
Okay, well that's cool.
I remember seeing that and I was like, I don't know what the Cape Crusader is.
Well, there you go. It's the Amazon.
Well, no, because it said Batman Cape Crusader has Harley Quinn as an Asian American. I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking it's a movie. I'm not like a movie that's coming out, but.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, speaking of movies, now that led to the second thing that happened. They have an official cast for Galactus in the MCU.
Oh yes, yeah.
What was his name? Ralph Ineson. Is that how you say his name?
You might be right. I'm not great with pronunciations of names.
Definitely an interesting choice.
Well, from what I've understood, it shouldn't be all that crazy just because he's normally played intimidating godlike creatures.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't want to say godlike, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I'm just it wasn't
a
name that
on our radar. Expected. It wasn't somebody on our radar, but it makes sense to me. I mean, it made sense to me once I found out what he did because I didn't know him at all.
I knew him from some stuff, but obviously not too much. But,
no, correct. He looked sort of familiar, but by looks alone, I couldn't tell you what he did, so I had to look him up. But yeah, no, I saw that too. But also, Mike, we actually forgot that My Adventures with Superman is actually starting.
What? When?
It starts on the 25th of this month, so next week.
What? I have seen nothing about this.
I literally just looked it up a couple days ago, and it said it was going to be a 2-episode season premiere on May 25th. Oh, Saturday. Sorry, not Sunday. But you get my point.
I literally have heard nothing about this.
Yeah. I don't have a better answer for you, but if you look up My Adventures with Superman,
I did. It's right here.
I know. And it's 2 episodes. It's I don't make it up. So yeah, I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't even see a trailer for it. Nothing popped up other than the fact of randomly it popped up on my feed saying My Adventures with Superman premieres the 25th of May, and I was like, no, it doesn't. And I looked it up and was like, oh no, it does. So yeah. So we don't have as much of a gap time as we thought.
Yeah, okay. Well, hey, sure.
I know. I literally said the same thing. I looked at it and I was like, really? I was like, oh, I guess it exists. Um,
So it comes out. So what day did you say? The 25th?
25th, which I believe is a Saturday.
Yeah, it's next Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a 2 episode premiere, and then I'm assuming 1 episode each week after that.
Yeah. So we will have no gap.
No, I just realized that we have no gap. Yeah, I could because it was hilarious because I was like, oh, I got to figure out. I got to like work with Mike to try to figure out what we're gonna do for the next couple weeks, and then I see that and I was like, oh, I guess nothing. I mean, we could still do something. I think for not next week, but the week after, we could actually like talk about because it's only going to be one Superman episode, so I feel like we could talk about that and then do something else. Because not next week will be 2 episodes plus the season finale of X-Men '97, and then the following week will just be
We'll just be
Superman.
Superman.
So we can then just talk about Superman and go from there.
Well,
Well, no, Superman.
no. So next week is X-Men 97, and then the week after is two episodes of Superman.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I keep mixing this up. I
Yeah.
keep looking at the calendar wrong. You're absolutely correct.
So June, the first weekend of June will just be one episode of Superman,
Correct. Then we'll come up with something else to talk about too. Because
and then
nothing
then
against.
the week
Not,
after that will be the premiere of the Acolytes.
correct. But what I was getting at was the fact of more of what I'm getting at is like one Superman episode isn't going to be enough because as much as we like that show, and it is a good show, it's not all their episodes are like super intense. I guess the best way to put it, or like compact. I guess the best way to put it.
Yeah,
Not a lot of stuff to unpack, but
we'll
we
have
could
to.
be wrong.
No, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, when we get to that episode, because obviously the first two episodes, it's going to be the premiere, so we're going to assume that they're going to put a lot of stuff in there that we have to unpack.
Yes, and also
Following
figure out where we are
episodes,
now.
huh?
Like figure out where we are now.
Yes.
All right. So we have all that going on.
Yeah, that was quite a long intro. So let's get into X-Men '97.
Yeah. So this one is the Brink of Extinction Part 2, and this episode. I mean, I've said it about all of them, so I don't even know why I'm even bothering. But it was really good.
This episode was insane.
I here put it this way: I wasn't even mad with how it ended. Like, think of that for a second. Like, they completely sopranoed this right there, like mid scene cut.
Oh yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
like we didn't even get the frame, like the ending frame. It was just like mid frame cut. I was like, holy shoot!
No, that ending was. I just ended with jaw on the ground like I do with every one of these episodes, and it's just like,
I'm like,
and,
oh my god,
and,
they're
and I'm
really
like
doing it.
sitting
And
here.
then,
I'm sitting here like, well, I guess this isn't going into the Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
well, it still could. The weird thing is, it still could.
He could.
I mean, well, the best part was up until the very, very last couple of frames, I was like, oh no, this is Deadpool 3. Like, we're not going to get another season of this. This is Deadpool 3. And then all of a sudden, that happens. I was like, maybe it's not Deadpool 3. Um, but anyway, so let's talk about it because obviously Magneto caused a huge EMP. Um, he
As we saw
basically
at the end of the
last episode.
last
Yeah, no,
episode.
you're correct. Um, we also have Magneto putting on his old Brotherhood of Mutants outfit on to demonstrate he's done being a good guy and is going to go back to the way he was because now he realizes that the human race is the problem.
I'm not gonna. So I know in terms of audience, it's good guy versus bad guy, but I want to put it in the fact that he doesn't see himself as the bad guy. He sees himself as doing what is necessary for his race's survival.
They're actually so. There's an actual better quote. No offense, Mike, from the actual comics that Magneto says is he's a warrior and only knows war. He goes, he wants to make it so that newer generations don't have to fight the fight he does.
Yeah,
And that is probably the most accurate of them all.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'll say this about Magneto, like villain, hero, he's been it all. He's normally not completely wrong, in every like. I'm talking about of his mindset of like why he does what he does.
Mhm.
I think he's stupid at times with what he's doing. Like one of the things I had a problem with in this episode was we find out that the Earth could die,
Yep.
and Magneto's like, "That's fine. I'll just make a new planet." And I'm like, "But
So yes, I get that. Like that's like obviously that's the whole moral compass that Xavier is trying to put, like bring him to reason. But you have like I'm seeing like I understand it because he is so upset, hurt, angry. All of the emotions are clouding his better judgment. He
I mean that's
wants so it's like it's not like if he was in a rational state of mind, he wouldn't be doing this. But because he's been hurt so much, he's been betrayed, he's been just completely
tortured, like
tortured.
literally
Yes. He doesn't care anymore. He just
stripped
wants.
naked."
Yeah, no, he was in his undies.
Mm. It's because it's Disney. He was stripped naked.
So I understand that is just the rage is clouding his judgment.
No, and I get that. No, no. Here's the thing. I'm not stating that piece. I'm just stating like he. I think it's just one of those things where he goes from trying to save like mutant kind and everything else to being like, you know what? I don't care who dies. Like either come with me or you die.
In his head, he's in his head. Like I said, he's clouded by rage and
Yeah.
anger. In his head, he wipes out the human race, and and mutants will be able to live in peace. But he's not putting two and two together that without the Earth, there will also be no more mutants. It's just not clicking in his head because he is so distraught.
Hmm.
You,
Well, I think
you,
he.
you
I
know,
all.
it's like one of those things where like you know better, but because I mean I've been in the situation where I get so mad, like any kind of reason just doesn't make any sense.
You don't get mad. Um. No,
You know,
I
it's
get.
funny because everyone always tells me they can't picture me mad.
Yeah, because you're always mad. Anyway, um,
Oh.
my point I'm making is just the fact of like, no, you're absolutely right. Like he's not thinking straight and all that stuff. But I think it's one of those things where it's like he's also recruiting people. So like he knows people are going to die, and he's like, you have the choice to come with me. If you choose not to, then you die with the humans. And I think it's more of like a. The reason why I have a problem with it has to do with the fact that he's made a reason for it. Like I'm not stating it's a good reason. I'm not saying he has good reasoning behind it. Like meaning like what he's like destroying Earth. I mean, um, he stopped the he used the EMP to stop all technology in general, which I get. But just it's destroying the Earth. I think he knew what he was doing to a certain degree. I don't know if he necessarily knew it was going to completely destroy the Earth at the time. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think he really just doesn't care. That I believe more than anything else. At that point in time, I don't think he cared. I think he wanted to stop the Prime Sentinels more than anything else. Which, by no means, do I disagree on that piece. He should have.
Yep. Hmm.
I think it was the after that gets me, where it's like now I'm going to create my own planet, and any mutant that wants to come with me can come, and if not, you're a traitor to your own race, and you could die with the traitor race, and that's how I feel about it. And I feel like I'm pretty accurate in my assumption on how he's feeling right this second.
Me, yeah.
Now, one thing that I liked was the fact that we get the costume montage. That was
Mm.
cool.
Hmm.
Okay, we get the costume montage. We have Professor Xavier without his little car, his floating wheelchair, and they're coming up with a plan. They're gonna have a blue squad and a gold squad. Wait, is it gold or yellow? Did they say gold? I believe it was
Gold,
gold.
gold.
Yeah, and we know where those colors come from. It's because they're the colors of the X Men. And
Hmm.
then we get Cable wearing a comic book accurate and game accurate costume. Um,
Which
in
they've
this
made,
episode.
which I've loved the fact that they've made digs at the live action movies with their attires.
No, I do. It's like, what are you expecting? Black leather.
Hmm.
But I also think too that was also a dig at Cable from Deadpool 2 because I believe he was wearing black leather as well.
Yeah, I know he wasn't wearing his comic costume. I just didn't remember what.
I thought it was black, but I could be wrong. But either way, if it is, it's a double dig, and that's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing these digs back and forth, just like in the original X Men movies when Wolverine was like, "Oh, you go out in these," and
What do you
Cyclops was
expect?
like, "Well,
Yellow and blue spandex?
yeah." So I mean, they've been doing these digs back and forth for a long time.
No, absolutely. Also, we then, while these teams are deciding what they're going to do, because they're going to have one team hunt down Bastion to stop him, because they need to stop the Prime Sentinels, because he's the one controlling them, because he's a technopath. Then we have another. So I believe it's Gold Squad going after Bastion,
Gold Squad is going after Bastion. Blue
and
Squad is
Blue
going
Squad's
after
going after
Magneto.
Magneto to basically turn the Earth back on. Quite literally, is how they described it. And Rogue has been wearing Remy's jacket because she feels the burden of his death on her hands. But man, when Magneto comes to Merle Island, no, no, it wasn't Merle Island. No, this was before that. They were still at the X Mansion, I believe. When Magneto came,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So Magneto comes to X Mansion and requesting anybody who chooses to come with him, and anybody who doesn't stays with the traitor race, basically. And I I was surprised that there was a heel turn in the sense of that there was a heel turn, meaning like somebody went from good to evil. But the two people that did it, I wasn't surprised about. Like if I was gonna choose any two people, those would have been the first two I chose. So it's like I'm not that surprised, but I was surprised that it happened to begin with.
yeah, yep. No, out of everybody, it was those two that I definitely saw as the.
And Rogue, if you noticed, was wearing her outfit that she wore when she worked with Mystique.
I forgot where that was, but I yeah
The
I
difference, so the difference this time around, with that costume is she's now wearing gloves. That's it.
okay,
Because
interesting.
back in the animated series and in the comics, that outfit, I don't think she kept gloves on all the time, or maybe she did. I forget. But I don't. She didn't wear them as often as she does now. I'll say that for sure.
I mean, that makes sense because back then she didn't care about hurting other people. So,
Correct. So then we also had Sunspot, who joined him as well. Which again, based on his past and how his mother treated him, I get it.
makes total sense. I mean, his
No, no,
reasoning was
100
his mother
percent. Like
betrayed him.
I'm not oblivious to that piece. I get it. I'm just stating like I just wasn't expecting people to join him at all. It made sense. Like they didn't ruin anything, obviously.
Yeah, no, when it made sense for Sunspot. I wasn't. I when he came down and was like, "Hey, join me." I did expect Rogue to join. Everybody else kind of was like a shock, but like you said, I understand why Sunspot joined. After
I
he
also
joined,
understand how she
he was
did
like,
too, or why she did.
"No, no, no! I totally understand why she did. Like I said, I expected her to. Um, maybe not this soon. I figured she was going to stay there for like a moment, for a little bit, and then like sneak
Nah,
off or something.
she just took off that jacket and was like, "Here, Professor X, you're the reason why Remy's dead. I'm going with Magneto."
Hmm. Um, but then we get a father son moment, like we talked about. What else did we get in this episode?
We had a lot, to be honest with
We
you,
had a
because
lot.
so eventually they go to Merle Island after Magneto takes Sunspot and Rogue, and they then split into their teams. Jean Grey, Cable, Morph,
Beast
Beast, and Forge.
and Storm.
Oh, and Storm. That's right. They go after Bastion. Now, what we learned from Bastion, or about Bastion, I should say, was apparently Professor X went to go see him first and assumed he was a mutant. And to be
Yep.
fair, I mean, kind of, sort of. I mean, I can understand the thought process behind it
Yeah. It's
because I wouldn't think half robot. I wouldn't think half robot. I would have thought mutant as well.
hmm yeah. Um, now, question for you: when Magneto hit those EMPs and just hit the EMP and neutralized the Prime Sentinels. Are they like just stunned? Can they? Is it like they're still? Are they like knocked unconscious, or are they just aware of everything and just can't move? Like,
I I am not confident in that answer. I'm under the way it looked like she was crying, like mom
yeah,
was crying. I feel like they might be conscious but can't do anything is
okay,
my assumption, but I'm not even confident in that. Like I don't know if it was just like a weird like if it was just like a choice that they made and they didn't really think twice about it. But like I got the idea that because it sounds like that there's still a heartbeat, there's still everything else. I don't know. I feel like they can't move their body anymore, but I feel like they're there.
hmm it's kind of my assumption
But I
because, like
feel
you
like they're
said,
more human at
with the
this moment in
mom
time.
crying.
Like I think they're at this point in time they're not the prime sentinel even though they look like it. Um
Do you think
they're
they reverted back to their human consciousness?
I think that is where I'm thinking right now. I could be wrong, but just for the fact that mom's crying makes me think that I'm right.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm also kind of surprised that Bastion wasn't affected at all.
Yeah, I was a little.
But now that I think about it, I don't think Nimrod's affected by Magneto's ability.
Oh, is he not?
I don't think so, which would make sense why he's not affected by it.
Yeah, if Nimrod is not affected, then it makes sense that
But
Bastion
I
is.
but I think it has to do with the fact that Nimrod's from the future, and Nimrod prepared itself to not be affected by the magnetism.
Okay, then that would tie it together with Forge's leg.
Correct. Which would
So,
explain, yeah.
okay.
And obviously, because Forge created that,
hmm
they now have the technology in the future, which would have created Nimrod, which then it's a circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Bastion, I felt bad for too, a little bit, not really. Um, he, well, he had to lay his mother on the bed, um, and I just find it funny because it's like he did that to his mother, and yet is mad that she's hurt, and I'm like, what were you expecting?
I mean, he expected her not to get hurt.
Well, I think the idea was he expected her to like be healed with all the damage that would be done to her, like all the others.
hmm
So like, and again, it's not that she was so damaged; she was just shut off, quite literally.
Yeah.
The power button was turned off. Yeah. So like, all right. So let's break it off. Let's talk about let's talk about the Bastion team, and then we'll talk about the Magneto team.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
So the Bastion team gets there, and there are a million Sentinels popping out, right? And I love how somebody goes, I thought Magneto shut all these off. And Beast's like, oh, well, I guess Bastion is their power source right now.
Yep. Bastion has full control.
So, from what I understand, and I think I'm right on this, for Bastion to truly control this piece, he had to attach himself to the machinery, which would force it to turn on, which then made all the Sentinels work.
Yeah.
Which is why he was stuck like Master Mold in the spot that he was in.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of it was like the master control.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
so
The fight scenes were amazing in
these
this.
fight scenes were absolutely incredible. I
Storm and Forge taking out Sentinels were incredible, but then also being taken out.
So I have to say, I want to point out to the last episode where you had mentioned about how the fans were pissed off that the Omega level mutants weren't able to stop the master weren't able to stop the Sentinels.
Yeah, and this showed 100%. No, no, I know what you mean. And this showed exactly with regular Sentinels. Now, granted, these Sentinels are a little bit stronger than the Sentinels we know, but they're weaker than the Prime Sentinels for sure.
So what I was going to say is that yes, they got outnumbered, but
Storm focused her power on saving somebody, and that's what took her out.
yes,
Absolutely,
so so she was more focused on protecting people instead of her objective, and that defeated her.
100%.
So that that whole thing, just glad that that kind of answered people's concerns.
Yeah, because she was taking him out with ease, and she was. But the problem was she got distracted,
Hmm.
Excuse me. Because Forge got hit, she tried to save him, and during that time, that's when she got blasted and fell into the water.
Yep.
So then we had on the ground, we had Cable, Jean Grey, Beast, and Morph. I'm
Yes.
not, yeah, I'm not missing anybody.
No. No, you're not.
Morph turns into the Incredible Hulk.
Which I loved.
I thought that was hilarious, and then Jean uses her psychic ability and starts spinning him around, which I thought was incredible.
Hmm. Hmm.
Also, Beast can cut through metal. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, apparently he's a lot more powerful than I realized.
Like, can we talk about that? And then he goes, "What's the sound of one hand clapping?"
I I laughed
Um,
out loud when.
no, that one was a good one. My thing was Jean Grey versus Mister Sinister was a cool fight. I just
That
like how he
was.
was trying to mess with her
Yep.
mentally, and she's like, "Yeah, I really don't care. Now come out of the hiding, you little baby."
That sequence was insane, and then how she was aware that he was able to move with the shadows, got the light, and then how he was able to use Cable to fight her,
Yeah,
and
I
Cable using telekinetic powers was incredible.
yeah.
Um, I'm just not used to seeing that, so like
Well, he's also a technopath too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, so my point so that metal thing on him obviously is a virus, and
Mhm.
he's actually weakened. The reason why, so one of the reasons why X-Man, who is Nathan Gray slash Nathan Summers, who's their alternate version, right? The reason why he's so powerful is because he doesn't have the restriction of the virus on him,
Mhm.
right? So Cable's spending a lot of his telekinesis abilities and technokinesis abilities on keeping the virus at bay.
Yes, I remember you mentioning this before.
So
Yes.
because of that, he's actually not that he's weak, but he's weaker than he could be if he wasn't wasting all that energy doing that. But anyway, I was kind of surprised to see Cable being controlled by Mister Sinister. It makes sense.
Hmm.
It obviously makes sense because of where he grew up and everything else. I just wasn't. I wasn't thinking it.
No, yeah, like obviously like just seeing that whole thing, like you said, it makes sense. Wasn't expecting it. I thought it was awesome, and then
So they're
uh,
fighting, and we don't know
Jean
what happens
Grey.
there.
Yeah, Jean Grey was obviously not trying to fight. She was just trying to protect, to reason with him. Now, do you think she was killed?
No, I
You
think
think?
if anything, we're getting a little bit of the Phoenix, if anything,
Oh, okay.
because I don't think she's gone. But anyway, then we have inside with Bastion. We have Mister Sinister come in stating, "Sir, they're breaking in. We gotta hurry up and get out of here." And then Bastion blasts him, and it was Morph the whole time, which I got to give him credit. He's not stupid, Bastion.
Mm. I
Um,
loved his reasoning.
he goes, Mr. Sinister would have never come back here and warned me that they were coming. He would have found his own way out and left me to rot. And I'm just
Which
like,
is
he's not wrong.
no, it happened many times in the original series.
No, yeah, no, 100%. But I just thought that was hilarious because I knew it wasn't going to work. Like, I knew the ploy wasn't going to work, but I wasn't thinking it was going to be right away, like he figured it out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then the sequence of Beast and Morph trying to get to Bastion and then being consumed by the technology, I guess the best way to put it. Because it's
yeah,
weird because it looks like it's metal, but it's really just technology that they're controlling, that he's
yeah,
controlling.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like techno metal, whatever.
It's basic. Think of it this way: it's basically Sentinel material. Think think of it
Good,
like
good.
this:
Yeah,
like
yep.
as stupid as it sounds, like Magneto controls magnetism. Bastion controls Sentinels. Let's just go with that. It's easier because no, but
Yep.
because it's easier that way because he can manipulate the Sentinels. That's why they looked the way they looked in some of those situations because he like melted them together almost.
Hmm. So clearly, blue team is not in a good situation. They are getting beat down,
Yes.
and we are also jumping to see where how gold team has been holding up. And
Yeah. So Gold Team flies into well, I guess did they call it Asteroid M?
I don't think they called it anything.
Okay. I I mean that very well might be accurate. I just for some reason
I
I
don't
felt like
remember hearing it be called anything. I
it might
just
not have been called anything. I might be just making assumptions.
the only thing I remember is when Magneto showed up at the school. Charles said, the only thing I see is you holding an asteroid over my home.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's why I went Asteroid M. Um, but anyway, so we get there, right? So Rogue and Sunspot go to the hangar where the X jet landed, and Rogue rips it open and sees that they're not there, and it's because Kurt teleported them right to Magneto, which I'm assuming was the
So
plan to begin
much,
with.
so much more powerful in this show.
They all are.
Yeah, so great.
So they then begin to attack Magneto, and during this, it is Sunspot and Rogue come to the fight as well. Who does she grab first? I forget.
Rogue attacks Wolverine because Wolverine's going in for the kill. She stops him and says, "Hey,
That's right. That's right.
calm down, Sugar. You're playing to kill."
Yeah, and then Sunspot shoots at
Jubilee.
Jubilee, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she starts attacking him. He's like, "I said I was sorry," and
It was like, you're so stupid.
yeah, he is stupid, but he is stupid. So then Rogue going full ham, right? And then they knock off his helmet, and Charles Xavier starts to get inside Magneto's head. And I like that scene a lot because then Scott Summers gets a vision of what's going on with Gold Team. No, Blue Team. Blue Team.
Blue team.
Blue Team. And he then realizes they need more time because the idea was they want Magneto to. They were going to have Charles Xavier go into Magneto's mind and reverse it, but they didn't want the Prime Sentinels to come back on, so they needed to stop Bastion. And so Scott Summers blasts Professor X right off his wheelchair to stop him from doing it. And Charles is like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, I'm sorry. Gold team needed more time.
Blue team.
Blue team needed more. I don't care. Bastion's team needed more time. Okay, so that's when Magneto goes full on cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, puts Charles Xavier in quite literally a metal death trap, and correct me if I'm wrong. Does it look like it's crushing his skull?
I assumed it was
Okay,
because he was screaming in pain.
correct. And then Magneto's then just going full on ham, right? Throwing metal everywhere. And we have Wolverine. This is one scene I have a problem with because he's flinging magnetism everywhere, and yet Wolverine isn't flying away. But I guess he's not aiming it towards him. I guess I don't know.
My thought process was because Wolverine got knocked away. He got it seemed like he got knocked unconscious. Magneto was just assumed he was dealt with and focusing on everybody else because he grabbed his helmet from an unconscious Wolverine and threw it on Xavier.
Correct. That is right.
So my thought process was he just didn't care because he assumed he was dealt with.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And then Wolverine did the stabby stabs.
And then he got rippy.
Yeah. Magneto ripped the adamantium out of his body, and then it literally ended right there. Like it like as much as I'd love to tell you what happens next, it ended like it was literally.
We have to wait until Wednesday.
It was not even. I don't even think it went black. I think it literally went right to the credits. Like I don't even think it went black first. I think it literally went credits.
It went straight to the X-Men
like the ending credits where they do like the talk about their powers and stuff like that.
Yep. I because you see the stab, you see Magneto reacting, and he says, "You finally ended this," and Wolverine is like, "The old ones always die first." And
wait, what did you just say? The what ones die first?
The bold ones.
Oh, that's true.
And
I thought you said brave, but that sounds accurate.
It could have been brave. I thought it was bold, but
no. You probably are right.
Then you just see the claws retract, and I'm like, oh, okay. So in my head, I'm like, Magneto's dead. Especially seeing the reaction of everybody else because their faces, and then all of a sudden you just start hearing Wolverine screaming, and you just see his skin ripping. And you see Magneto pleading, "Don't do it."
No, Charles.
Sorry, Charles. Yes. And then you look up, and then they cut back to the scene, and just the adamantium is out of his body,
Yeah, basically
and
it
it
looks like
is
liquid form.
insane.
Yeah. Also, one thing to know about Magneto that I don't think a lot of people know is if you don't hit, he can survive a lot of physical injuries, and the reason for that is he can actually keep his blood pumping
That makes sense.
because of the iron. As long as he has iron in his blood, he can keep most of the blood inside his body. So not that he heals, like not that he has a healing factor, but he heals faster because he's not necessarily like he can like he can kind of
He can close his own wounds.
to a certain degree. I mean, he
Yeah.
can't like he yes and no.
Like if Wolverine stabbed him in the heart, he could survive a little bit longer than most other beings, but he would
Yes, yes,
eventually succumb to his wounds.
correct. I think he's still like he'll eventually get weak enough where his powers won't be working, obviously. But I
Mhm.
mean, the idea is he can keep his blood going for a bit. He can also cause other people's blood to come out of them, as we've seen in the past too.
Mhm.
Um, although it's not the blood itself, it's the iron in it, obviously.
Yeah,
But he can
he can't
do a
control
lot
the
of
blood
damage.
itself. It's the materials inside the blood that he can control.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. And the idea is he'd be able to move those minerals around enough in his body to actually make it so his blood continues to circulate and not come out as much.
Mhm.
Now, that being said, that doesn't mean he still can't die. He 100% can still die. It's just the fact of like his magnetism can help him literally keep alive longer. I guess the best way to put it.
Mhm. Yeah,
But yeah,
prolong his.
I, yeah, there's one episode left, man. I don't know.
You know, it's funny because when the episode first started, it was like getting halfway through, whatever. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like it was like gonna be the first episode of this trilogy is going to be like up there, then the second one's gonna be down, and then the third one is gonna go way up." And I was like, "Oh, they're going in that route where the like 'cause it was all talking and like trying to
No, no,
forgive each
I
other."
they made us think that. Like it did go down
Yeah,
a little bit. Like it went like this. It went.
yeah, it was like, it was like, nope,
It's
that's
like,
it.
and we're all like, oh, thank God we get a little bit of a break. But it was not a break.
No, 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 no. This show has not given us any form of break.
No, no, no.
And we
I think
said it
the
before, after the fifth episode with Genosha, it's been like going up.
yeah. There's been no plateau yet. There's been
No,
no plateau, and that
absolutely
kind of scares
insane.
me. Mostly because we have, like I said, we have one more episode left, and
This episode is going to it's going to blow every other episode out of the water, which is insane.
I mean, yes, but like I don't know. Like I'm
I
not.
don't know. I don't know how. We know what's going to
No, no, no.
happen.
I know that there's got to be some sort of resolution,
Hmm.
or like somehow like Kang the Conqueror comes in and wipes him out. Like I don't know. Like something's got to happen where because then that would lead to Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
Um, but like my whole thing is just this like I don't know what's going on, and let me rephrase it this way: I know what's going on, but like I don't know what's going to happen next, and I really, truly do not know.
like we know, we just don't know. Like obviously something is going to get resolved,
Oh
but
no, no. So let me
Bastion's going to
rephrase
be
it this way.
stopped.
So like for sure, like Bastion somehow is going to be defeated? Question mark. Or at least the Prime Sentinels aren't going to be a problem anymore. Magneto is somehow going to fix the Earth before he dies, or if he dies. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of stuff that I feel is going to happen, but like how it's going to happen, no idea.
No, yeah, no, exactly. Oh, this episode,
It
if we
was
say
really
this at the
good.
end of
It was
every
really good.
episode, it's
Like by no means, like this episode was great, and I'm not arguing that whatsoever. Like it was actually like phenomenal. What I'm getting at is it's like I don't know what's the next step. I guess the best way to put it, because like I thought I knew what was happening in this episode, and then it ended mid frame, and then I was like, I don't know what's going on.
every episode has essentially left ended in a cliffhanger,
Yes,
and
actually,
it is,
yes.
and
No,
they have
actually,
done, and
you're
these
absolutely right.
cliffhangers are insane.
Yeah, yeah, because the first episode was Storm losing her powers.
Yep.
The second
Well, no,
one.
that was the second episode.
What was the first? Oh no, the first episode was Magneto was there.
Magneto is my X-Men. Yep.
Hello,
Second episode, she
my.
lost her powers.
Yep. Third
Uh,
episode. No, third episode we have the clone.
yep. Yep.
Well, we didn't know who was the clone at the time, but they were two Jean Greys.
Revelate. Yep. Where she comes in and says, "I need the X-Men." And
Four
then the fourth.
four was Madeline leaving. No, four had to do with Cable and Bishop leaving.
Yes, the episode ended with them leaving. Yep. So that was the only one that didn't really have a big cliffhanger.
Oh wait,
If I, no, no.
I'm skipped. No, that was part of the same that was the part of the clone episode. Hold on, I'm mixing them up now. But anyway, there was also the one where Storm had the owl creature attack her, right? And then we had Genosha.
That, you know what? That was episode 4. Because episode 4 was the two-parter.
Remember, it was Motendo.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It was episode 4 was the 2 episodes in one.
Oh yeah, my bad. You're right.
So it was Storm and Motendo.
Yeah.
And then episode 5
Was the
it jumps
Genosha?
which is got me pissed because I was like, why didn't they do the owl
We
part
understand
2?
why. We 100%.
So then and then the next episode was Storm, and the episode ended with Genosha on the news.
Yep.
Then episode 7 was
The Prime Sentinel, wasn't it? Wasn't it the first Prime Sentinel and then Cable used the grenade?
no, that wasn't how the episode ended though.
Yeah, it was.
It was no
Yeah.
the episode they defeated the Sentinel in that episode.
No, they didn't. They threw the grenade down and he passed out and said, "We got a lot of work to do."
Oh, okay. So they did defeat it. Yes. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, no. Like, it's a weird thing to say. Like, stopped it, yes. Defeated it is a strong word.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Same thing, different meaning.
And then, oh, wait, no. No, that wasn't how the episode ended. That was when we found out Magneto was alive.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
And then this one.
and then episode 8 was the EMP.
Oh, yeah,
And
the
then
EMT. And then this one was the Wolverine. So, yeah, it's been a fun time. I'm emotionally scarred.
This
So,
episode.
Mike, I can't wait to hear how great your character spotlight is.
Oh wow, what a great segue! So it's such a great. Anyways, episode 9 was absolutely insane. Can't
No,
wait
it
for
was 100%.
can't wait for the season finale in episode 10.
100%. I can't wait for Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine. I can't wait for all the stuff coming out.
Anyways, Scott, what is day of this recording? What day is it?
I don't know. Oh, Mother's Day.
Mother's Day, which is a holiday.
I hate
So what does this mean for Mike?
It means
Mike's.
you're going to use the calendar man as your character spotlight and move on so we can
No,
stop
I'm not going to use the
dates.
calendar, man. That's so unoriginal. I want to highlight a DC character's mother, a very important mother, one that I don't think you'll know actually. This character was first introduced in December of 1988. Do you happen to know who Sheila Haywood is?
Obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Well, for those who do not know,
Is it Plastic Man's mother?
no.
You hesitated for a second, so I'm curious.
It is a main character's mother.
Okay, continue.
Main character.
A member of the Justice League? Is that what you want to get at?
No, I don't think he is. He's not a member of the Justice League.
Okay, continue. We're waiting.
This is the mother of Jason Todd. What?
No, she just lost her kid, but continue.
Well, Sheila was a doctor who fell in love with Willis Todd in Gotham City. She had Jason with Willis, but after she had him, she was forced to leave the city because she botched an illegal operation that left a teenage girl dead. As she abandoned everybody, she ran to Ethiopia, where she started a refugee camp for with trying to help people. This she kind of was doing this also kind of a little illegally. She was embezzling things and whatnot. So Jason had no idea that Sheila was her mother. He thought, hang on, let me find his other mother's name. He thought his current stepmother, was Catherine Todd. Years later, he finally learned the truth, and it was Sheila. He eventually, with Batman, tracked her down and learned of her past, of why she fled and why she kept it away from his life. Well, who is a major villain of Batman that loves to cause trouble? Joker found out about her, so he tracked her down to Ethiopia and used her past illegal activities to blackmail her, have her come back to Gotham City, have her go to a certain warehouse, and leave.
Warehouse where her son was bashed with a crowbar, maybe?
Yep, a very certain warehouse, and lure her son into the warehouse by promising him a future together. While now we realize it was a trap. Joker beat Jason Todd to near death. Sheila had a change of heart and kind of realized what the Joker was doing. Finally, tried to stop him. Joker then turned on her and started beating her, and then finally stopped and left them both to die. And let the ticking time bomb go down. Well, Jason still, in their final moments, tried to protect his mother from the blast explosion. He kind of successfully did. He managed to cover her, and the blast killed him and not her. When Batman arrived, he found her alive. And obviously, this, one thing led to another. Robin comes back as Red Hood, and the rest is history. So the interesting about this character is she's kind of been retconned. Post New 52, she has not been reintroduced. This was in the original Death in the Family comic. When Batman found her, she told him what Jason tried to do and tried to save her and whatnot, and she told Batman that she regretted betraying the trust of her son. So, like I said, she was introduced in 1988, December, and that she appeared in, I believe she appeared in 3 comics. Batman issue number 426, 27, and 28, where 426 was her introduction and 28 was her death.
Okay.
Or, yeah. So, thought it was interesting to highlight a
dead mother,
not great mother, and one that was actually very significant in the early stages of Jason Todd, because without her betraying him, he would have never gone to the warehouse, and Jason wouldn't have become...
He would have lived.
He would have lived and stayed as Batman.
No, he was dead.
But, anyways, let us wrap things up.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, other than that, next week we're going to be talking about the season finale of X-Men 97. We're going to get ourselves, see if we can find a trailer for friggin' My Adventures with Superman Season 2.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because, like, I didn't see any trailers whatsoever. I only saw, like, one ad pop up on my feed, but that was it. But no actual, like, trailer. But other than that, I mean, next week is going to be, I think it's going to be jam-packed in the sense of that season finale episode is going to be so big that we're going to be talking about it for a while. Um, so definitely make sure you tune in. And if you've been listening this entire time today, we appreciate it. And we really also appreciate you liking and subscribing down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a great night.